The sixth techniques of integration is the integration of rational functions. So when we say rational functions, that is the functions involving fractions. Okay, so ibig sabihin ang given na integrand natin dito is mga fractions na siya. Okay, so we have the integral of v of x over q of x dx. So p of x over q of x that is what we call the rational function. So we have steps on finding the or integrating the using the integration of rational functions here. So sa step 1, express the denominator q of x as a product of linear and quadratic factors with real coefficients. So ibig sabihin nun, yung denominator natin is i-express natin as a product of linear and quadratic factors. Ibig sabihin, ifa-factor natin siya as a product of linear and quadratic. So, pwedeng maging linear yung factors natin, pwede ding maging quadratic yung factors, and then pwede din na combination ng dalawa. And then the next step is use the method of partial fraction to decompose p of x over q of x into a sum of simpler rational functions. Okay, so sa step 2, gagamitin natin yung methods ng methods of partial fraction. Okay, so actually, methods of partial fraction is just the integration of rational function. And then the last step is integrate each of the simpler rational function. Okay, sa step 2 class, sa pag-decompose, may cases tayo. Okay, may case 1 at saka may case 2 tayo. Okay, for the case 1, sa pag-decompose ibig sabihin, hati-hatiin natin siya. After natin siyang ma-factor yung sa denominator, hahati-hatiin natin siya. Okay. So sa case 1 ng step 2 is for each any real linear factor x minus r of the denominator of q of x, which is repeated n times, n greater than or equal to 1, the method of partial fraction give rise to simpler fraction of the form. Okay? So if ang linear factors daw natin, pag nakita ninyo na yung factors natin is a linear function, ibig sabihin 1 yung degree niya, is dapat, and then yung factors na yun is repeated siya n times. So pwede natin siyang ma-decompose as a sub 1 over x minus r plus a sub 2 over x minus r quantity squared. Say, naulit siya ng 2 times. So, isusulat natin siya is sa una, sa first decomposition is isa lang yung exponent niya, and then sa pangalawang decomposition naging 2 na siya kasi dalawang beses man na ulit. Kung tatlong beses na ulit, ganito din yung pagkakasulat, a sub 3 over x minus r quantity cube. So, pwede din na gamitan natin to ng b, c. Depende na sa variable na gagamitin ninyo, and it should be in capital letter. Plus a sub n over x minus r to the power of n, where n is any real number. So, depende kung saan or ilang beses nag-repeat yung factors ng linear factor natin. Okay, for an appropriate choice of constants, a sub 1 to a sub n, and unrepeated linear factors x minus r give rise to just one fraction. Okay, so if hindi naman repeated yung linear factors natin, ibig sabihin isang beses lang siya nag-exist, is ibig sabihin ang pag-decompose natin is a over x minus r lang in the decomposition of p of x over the q of x. Okay, for example, sa case 1, find the integral of x minus 4 over 2x squared minus 5x plus 3 dx. Okay, so ang first na gagawin, step 1 is, si denominator is ifa-factor natin siya as a product of linear or quadratic functions. Okay, so if a factor natin to, ito yung q of x natin. So the denominator can be written in factored form as 2x minus 3 times x minus 1. So ito yung factors ni 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. So lahat sila linear, tapos hindi repeated. Okay, so ibig sabihin nun, pwede natin siyang ma-decompose as, okay, so ito yung given natin. So, x minus 4, equivalent siya kay 2x minus 3. Kasi yung factors nito, ito siya, galing doon. So, 2x minus 3 times x minus 1. So, since hindi naman repeated, pwede natin siyang ma-decompose as a. Okay, so ilalagay natin dito is si a over yung first na factor plus, okay, always yan plus, another variable na b, and then yung next na factor na x minus 1. So ka-decomposeon, na in-decompose sa, ibig sabihin na in every term, na ayap tago nyo rong ko denominator yan class, na so kapakatutunog-tunugo factors yan saya. Kung game yun na gitutigo nyo saya, kung gini mamboy yun na ay kadwa siya gitutigo nyo saya kapara di ka nagkalibog. And then taguan nyo buaya sa mga variables, it should be in capital letter. Pwedeng A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or kapakaya A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3. Depende. Kung A sub 1 yung ginamit niyo, it follows also na yung next niyo is si A sub 2 para consistent tayo. Okay. So, diba ito yung given natin, tapos ito na yung na-decompose na natin, si A is equal to 2x minus 3 plus B over x minus 1. So, para ma-eliminate natin tong denominator na yan, ita-times natin siya both sides by this denominator. Kasi diba yun yung LCD nilang tatlo. Okay, so multiply it both sides by 2x minus 3 times x minus 1. So, do not worry. Aya ipag-times yung saya always na kung tunay matatago saya. Kailangan na sumya factors kanyan din class. Okay, so diba eto, may cancel out doon. So, we're left with x minus 4. Then here naman, i-times natin doon. Diba ang maka-cancel out lang is si 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. So, we're left with a times x minus 1. So, that's why naging a times x minus 1 yan. The same with the second term, ang maka-cancel out lang dito is si x minus 1. So, we have 2x minus 3 times b. So, eto siya. So, eto na yung gagamitin natin na equation para mahanap natin yung unknowns. So, ang unknowns natin dito is dalawa. Si A at saka si B. Okay, take note, yung unknowns din class, yung bilang ng unknowns ninyo is kung gaano kadami yung factors is ganun din kadami yung unknowns. And then, kung gaano kadami yung unknowns ninyo is yun din yung bilang ng ililet ninyo na variable x. Okay, so since ang unknowns natin is dalawa lang, si A and B, dalawang beses lang din tayo maglilet ng variable x. And then, yung ililet ninyo na x is, pwedeng mag-start kayo kay 0, pwedeng kay negative 1, negative 2, depende sa inyo. Pero make it sure, or para mas madali tayong maka-eliminate, is hanapin ninyo yung value ng x na makaka-0 dito, and then makaka-0 dito sa pangalawang factor. So, pwedeng eto i-solve ninyo equate sa 0. So, x minus 1 equate to 0. Ang makukuha ninyo na x is 1. So, pwedeng ilet ninyo na x is si 1. Then, dito naman, para maging 0 siya, tapos ang matira na lang is si a. Pwede nating hanapin yung value ng x dito. So, 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. So, transpose si 3. So, we have 3 divided both sides by 2. So, ang x na pangalawa is si 3 over 2. Okay. Okay, so we let x is equal to 1. Okay, so kaya tayo nag-let ng x is equal to 1 here. Para eto, pag sinubstitute natin dito si 1, di ba magiging 0 na siya. Then, matitira na lang is si variable b. Okay, so we have 1 minus 4. 1 minus 4 is equal to a. Si x replaced by 1. So, 1 minus 1, si b is si 2 times 1 minus 3. Okay, so 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And then when 1 minus 1 is equal to 0 plus 2 times 1 is 1 minus 3, and then b times 2 times 1 is 2 times minus 3 is negative 1. So that's why naging negative 1 ito. So si a times 0 is 0 na yan. So ayaw bumilang ba si a na si b times negative 1 is the same lang as negative b. Solving for the value of b, divide tayo both sides by negative 1. So, we have b is equal to 3. Okay, so okay na yung isang unknown natin. Ang kulang na lang is si A. Okay, kailangan class, eto yan, mapalitan yan ng value. Okay, so we let x is equal to 3 over 2. Eto pa rin yung gagamitin natin ha. Okay, so replace x by 3 halves. So we had 3 halves minus 4. And then a times 3 halves minus 1 plus 2 times 3 halves minus 3. Okay, ito yung basis natin ha. Okay, so 3 halves minus 4 is negative 5 over 2. 1 half times a is 1 half a. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. So ito, wala na yan. B times 0 is 0 na yan. So we can solve here the value of a. So negative 5 over 2 is equal to 1 half a. So multiply natin siya both sides by 2 para ang matira na lang dito sa right side is the variable a. So cancel out na yan. So we have a is equal to negative 5. So ibig sabihin may value na yan. So pwede na tayong mag-integrate. Okay. So ito yung given natin kanina. So, ito yung factors. Yung nilagay ko dito is yung naka-factor niya. And then, ito yung pagka-decompose natin. Okay. Ito galing doon. Si x minus 1 is galing doon. Maglalagay lang kayo dito ng variables. Okay. So, mas okay na a, b, c, d. Or pwede rin na a sub 1, a sub 2. Okay. Di ba ang nakuha natin na value ni a is negative 5. Value ni b is positive 3. Okay, so pwede natin siyang ma-integrate. Pwede na din natin itong ma-integrate. So, paghiwalayin natin yan, negative 5 over 2x minus 3 dx is eto siya. Then, eto din 3 dx over x minus 1. So, factor out natin si negative 5. So, we left with dx over 2x minus 3. And then, 3 dx, factor out natin si 3. We left with dx over x minus 1. So, okay lang kapag ganito if yung nasa numerator is dx lang din, tapos yung sa denominator is a linear function kasi ang integral nito rather is automatic na ln. Okay, so pakita natin kung paano ko ito na-arrive. So, ito yung solution niya. Integral of dx over 2x minus 3. So, we let u is equal to 2x minus 3. Derivative ni 2x minus 3 is 2dx. Divided both sides by 2. So, we have du over 2 is equal to dx na lang. So, replace dx by du over 2. 2x minus 3 by u. So, factor out natin si 1 half. So, we left with du over u. Integral ni du over u. Sa techniques of integration of formulas, nandun to. Ang nakalagay doon is dx over x is equal to the ln. Okay. So, the ln of u or the ln of 2x minus 3 plus c. So, result nito is eto siya. Eto, parehas lang din ng process. So, negative 5 times 1 half is negative 5 over 2, the ln of 2x minus 3. So, 3 times the ln of x minus 1 plus c. So, this is the integral of the given integrand. Case 2. For each irreducible quadratic factor ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 0 of the denominator q of x which is repeated n times, okay, repeated n times, katulad ng sa case 1, pero linear factor nga lang yun. Okay, so where n is greater than 1, the method of partial fraction give rise to the simpler fractions. Okay, so dito sa case 2 class, quadratic factors yung makikita natin dito or kukonsider natin sa case 2. Okay, if repeated siya n times, ang pag-decompose naman niya is ganito. Okay, kapag quadratic ay ibig sabihin yung denominator natin is, ang degree is 2 or quadratic factor na ayat tigunyo saya mamusa puro yan na lagi daya a sub 1x. So first term yan or sa first variable na napdiyan na x plus another variable pa man. Okay, kung repeated scan yan, nalagid bumamburo si ko case 1 another variable man saya tapos tigun kasi buna so ikadua niya man na factor. Kasi roo sa case 1 kasi na linear na ibig sabihin na basta linear na sasati man na tigun nyo saya variable sa puro. Na basta quadratic na duwati man na katago yu saya variable tapos suisaon na anap diya na variable x. Okay. So para mas maintindihan natin yung case 2, may example tayo. Okay. For example, integral of x squared plus 3 divided by x to the power of 4 plus 2x squared plus 1 dx. So don't worry, andun to sa PDF na binigay ko. Okay, so here, ang denominator natin is a quadratic. Pwede natin siyang ma-express as a quadratic factors, right? Okay, si x to the power of 4 plus 2x squared plus 1 is equal siya as x squared plus 1 quantity squared. Ibig sabihin, ang factors nito is si x squared plus 1 times x squared plus 1 or pwede siyang masulat as x squared plus 1 quantity squared. Okay, so ano yung na-mention sa case 2? If quadratic factor sa pag-decompose, kailangan ganito. Dalawa yung variable sa taas, yung first term may kasamang variable x. So since eto siya, dalawang beses siya anong tawag dito, nag-repeat, ibig sabihin nun, apat yung unknowns natin. Okay, so eto, yun yung given natin. Na factor siya as x squared plus 1 quantity squared. Okay, so since quadratic, okay, yung first na factor nito is x squared plus 1, isang beses, ang ilalagay nyo sa first term is yung isang factor lang niya. Ilalagay sa numerator is dalawang variable. We have ax plus b. Di ba magkasunod si a and b? Okay, mas okay na magkasunod yung variable na gagamitin natin dito sa numerator. And then take note, yung first term is may kasama siya na variable x if yung nasa denominator natin is quadratic factor. Plus, another, kasi dalawang beses siya nag-repeat, ibig sabihin, mag-end tayo na yung sa exponent din ng denominator natin is 2. Kung 3 yung nakalagay dyan, ibig sabihin tatlong beses siya nag-repeat, mag-stop din tayo kapag 3 na yung exponent niya dito. Okay, so ang next kay B is si C. Okay, so since quadratic siya, mag-add tayo ng x dito and then pangalawang variable. Okay, so yun yung pinagkaibahan ni case 1 and case 2. Si case 1, isang variable lang sa taas, wala siyang kasamang variable x. Sa case 2, dalawa yung variable na ilalagay sa numerator or sa taas and then yung first term is may kasama siyang variable x. Okay, so multiply natin siya both sides by x squared plus 1 kasi di ba yun yung LCD nila. So maka-cancel out na yan. So matitira na lang dito is si x squared plus 1. Dito naman, eto, pag binawasan mo ng isang x squared plus 1, di ba may matitira pang x squared plus 1. Eto, maka-cancel out na yan kasi dalawa, bawasan mo ng dalawa is wala na. So we left with cx plus d na lang. So eto din yung magiging basis natin para mahanap natin yung apat na unknowns. So, yung apat na unknowns na yun is the A, B, C, and the variable D. So, as I have said, if apat yung unknowns natin, ibig sabihin apat na beses din tayong maglilet ng variable x. Kung tatlo lang yung unknowns ninyo, ibig sabihin yung unknowns yung variables na nilagay natin sa taas sa pag-decompose natin. Si A, B, C, A, B, C, or D. Okay, so since apat yung unknowns dito, so apat na beses din tayo maglilet ng x. So, pwede tayong maglet or mag-start kay 0, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2. Depende na sa inyo. Pero mas okay na mag-start tayo kay 0 kasi siya yung pinaka-basic. Okay, so we let x is equal to 0. Eto, dito natin siya kasi 'di ba eto yung basis natin, yung sinabi ko kanina after tayong nag-times ng both sides ng LCD nila. Okay, so x squared plus 3, 0, di ba magiging 0 na yan, so magiging 3 na lang. Eto, magiging 0 na din yan kasi a times 0 is 0 plus b, 0 squared plus 1 plus c times 0, si x replace ng 0 plus d. So this one is 0. Eto is b times 0 squared plus 1 is b. Then cancel out na din si c and then si d. Okay, the next one is cx is equal to 1. I-substitute pa rin dito. Galing to doon sa galing siya dito after nating mag-times ng LCD nito or yung denominator nito. Okay, so let x is equal to 1. Ang ma-obtain natin is si 2a plus 2b plus c plus d. So, pwede natin itong ileta sa our equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, and equation 4. So, parehas pa rin. X is equal to negative 1. Take note, dito nyo lang yan isa-substitute. Okay. So, eto na yung para obtain natin yung apat na unknowns na yun, mag-i-eliminate tayo. Pwede natin gamitan ng elimination or pwede tayong mag-add ng mga equations doon sa nakuha natin dito. Okay? So, yan. Pwede natin gamitin yan using by elimination or depende na sa technique na gagamitin ninyo. Okay. So, ako ang ginawa ko is in-add ko si equation 2 and 3 para makakuha ako ng another equation, equation 5, and then isa-subtract ko sa equation 1 kay equation 5 kasi yung sa equation 1 kasi is in terms of b and d. Okay, b and d. So, pareha sila kay equation 5. So, sa pag-subtract ko, nakuha ko si b is equal to 1. And then, substitute natin si b is equal to 1 kay it's either kay equation 1 or equation 5. Ang makukuha pa rin natin na value ng d is equal to 2. And then, since dalawa na yung known, okay, may value na si b at saka si d, pwede natin makuha si a. So, ang ginawa ko is si b and d, sinubstitute ko siya ka equation 2 para makakuha ako ng variable a. And then after, sinubstitute ko si b, d, and a to the equation 4. So, we obtain c is equal to 0. And then sinubstitute ko siya kay equation 2 yung nakuha ko na b, d, and si C rather. So, ang value din ni a is equal to 0. So, it implies that ang values ni a, ang unknowns natin, a is 0, b is equal to 1, and then c is equal to 0, tapos d is equal to 2. So, may values na tayo. Okay. So, eto siya, di ba? Eto yung pagka-decompose natin kanina. So, ax plus b, may value na si a, may value na din si b, si c, at saka si d. So, since ang value ni a is 0, so 0 times x, 0 na yan. And then, value ni b is 1. So, ayun siya. Value ni c is 0 man. So, 0 times x, 0 na yan. Value ni d is 2. So, 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. And then, i-integrate natin to. Ito siya. And then, integrate din natin yan. Integral of dx over x squared plus 1 quantity squared. Yung sa first term, ang gagamitin lang natin dito is yung formula number 16. Katulad ng sa previous example natin kanina. Formula number 16. Dx over x squared plus 1. Okay. So, ang integral nito is the arctangent of x over 1. So, arctangent of x na lang. And then, eto naman, etong pangalawa is sa pagkuha ng integration nito is gagamitin natin dito is yung trigonometric substitution. Okay, so ito yung final answer niya. So ipakita ko lang paano to na-obtain yung integration nito. So, isolve natin yung integral of dx over x squared plus 1 quantity squared is pwede natin siyang ma-express as the square root of x squared plus 1 quantity 4. Okay. And then, di ba, sa trigonometric substitution, ang first na gagawin is si radical or si integrand natin na naka-radical is i-express natin in terms of exponent quantity squared. So, x quantity squared is the same as x squared, and then 1 quantity squared is just equal to 1. So, ang u natin dito is equal to x. Ang e natin dito is equal to 1. So, nag-construct ako ng triangle. So, since plus, dito natin ilalagay sa hypotenuse yung radical, and then si x is nasa opposite side yan. Then si constant is nasa adjacent side. Okay? So, kayo na yung bahalang mag-review dito sa trigonometric substitution. In this example, a combination of case 1 and case 2. Kasi di ba sa case 1, linear factors. So, ang decomposition niya is isang variable lang sa numerator. And then, sa case 2 naman is quadratic factors. So, ang decomposition niya is dalawang variables sa numerator, and yung first term may kasamang variable x. Okay, so find the integral of x to the 4 plus 8x squared plus 3x plus 19 over x plus 1 times 4 plus x squared quantity squared dx. So, okay lang dito sa example na to, hindi nyo na kailangang hanapin yung factors kasi naka-factor na siya. So, giyayabua kapag decomposean nyo ron. So, mas okay siya. Unlike kasi doon sa previous examples na kailangan pa nating hanapin yung factors niya. Okay. So, decomposition tayo diretso. Okay. So, x to the 4 plus 8x squared plus 3x plus 19 over x plus 1 times 4 plus x squared quantity squared. So, ang first factor natin dito is linear. So, ang decomposition ni linear is ganito. Isang variable lang sa taas. And then, sa denominator is yung linear na factor. And then, yung pangalawang factor is quadratic man. So, ibig sabihin nun, ang magiging decomposition niya is dalawang variable sa taas. Yung first term may kasamang variable x. Okay, since dalawang beses, ang unahin natin na isulat dito is yung first factor niya. Okay, so bx a, and then next kay a is si b. So, bx plus c over 4 plus x squared. Since dalawang beses ito na ulit, another mag-add tayo dito. So, dx plus e over 4 plus x squared quantity squared. Okay, so mag-stop na tayo dito kasi 2 lang man. Kung 3 yaan, mag-add pa tayo dito ng fx plus g over 4 plus x squared quantity cube. Okay, if 3 or 3 times siyang naulit. Okay, so after that, pag na-decompose na natin, ang gagawin is mag-multiply tayo both the LCD and both sides by the LCD. So, always na ito yung LCD niya. So, ito, x plus 1 times 4 plus x squared quantity squared. Okay, so cancel out na dito. So, we're left with the numerator only. So, here, ang maka-cancel out lang is ito. So, magiging a times 4 plus x squared quantity squared plus bx plus c. Ang maka-cancel out lang dito is isang 4 plus x squared. So, ibig sabihin, may natitira pang x plus 1 at saka isang 4 plus x squared. Sa last term naman, cancel out yung dalawang 4 plus x squared. So, ang natira na lang na factors is si x plus 1. So, eto din yung magiging basis natin. Okay. So, may 5 unknowns tayo. The A, B, C, D, and E. So, which means 5 beses din tayong magle-let ng x. Okay, so ang gilat natin na x na first is si negative 1. So, eto, sinubstitute dito. So, we obtain a is equal to 1 here. So, you can check. And then, the next, x is equal to 0. So, substitute pa rin natin dito. Eto. So, we obtain 3 is equal to 4c plus e. And then, sa x is equal to 1 naman, we obtain 3 is equal to 5b plus c plus d plus e. So, pwede ninyo siyang i-check if paano yan na-obtain. And then, x is equal to 2. 3 is equal to 16b plus 8c plus 2d plus e. So, equation 3. Okay, for x is equal to 2, we obtain the equation negative 3, 16b minus 8c plus d minus e. So, the same process lang doon sa mga previous na pag-let natin ng x. Okay, so, ito yung na-obtain natin na apat na equation. Sinumarize ko dito. So, pwedeng gamitan ninyo ng elimination. Okay, so to obtain the 4 unknowns. So the 4 unknowns, ang equivalent nila, ang value nila is a is equal to 1 yung nakuha natin, b is equal to 0, c is equal to 0, and d is equal to 0, and e is equal to 3. So pwede na natin siyang i-substitute doon sa na-decompose natin na integrand. So, ito yung decomposition natin kanina, di ba? So, ang nakuha natin na a is 1. So, we substitute a is equal to 1. And then, si b naman, si b is equal to 0. So, 0 times x. And then, si d is also 0. Si c is also 0. And then, si d is also 0. So, x times 0 plus 3. So, ang e na nakuha natin is 3. So, ito, 0, 0 na yan. Ito is 0 plus is 0 over 3. 0 plus 3 is 3 over 4 plus x squared quantity squared dx. So, ito na yung i-integrate natin. So, ito, ang integral nito is the ln of x plus 1. Then, integral naman nito is gagamitan ng trigonometric substitution katulad ng previous example natin. Ito yung solution niya. Parehas lang talaga doon sa previous example natin, kaso ang sa denominator is 4, ang denominator natin is 4 plus x squared. Kanina kasi is x squared plus 1. Okay, so kayo na yung bahalang mag-check. So therefore, ang integral ni given natin na integral is the ln of x plus 3 over 16 arctangent of x over 2 plus 3x over 32 plus 8x squared. Kasi dinistribute si 8 dito.